So we got short, and I do want to do a demo because AI is best seen live, right? So we're going to go through these slides. I'm not a slide person, but I want to get to the demo. So we're going to go through these pretty quickly. For the hands, who knows Juniper? Who heard of us? Right, a couple, some not. So I do have a couple slides on that. We're going to talk about the issues that all companies face today in networking. You know, all the big concerns and the costly concerns. What AI can do for that network, how AI is achieved and how we take care of that, and we'll show you during the demo actually how it's created and how it's evolved over the years. We're going to do a demo, and throughout the slides I'm going to give you a case studies of real clients that had issues or have issues, having issues, and how we've resolved them. So it'll be pretty quick. So Juniper, we've been around since 1996. That was when we founded, when the big bandwidth burst, right? There was a big need for high-speed routers, and Juniper came to light. Since then, we're world-class in our routers, and you'll see here in a few minutes we're everywhere as far as routing goes. We now make routers and switching and Wi-Fi and security products, so we've expanded our portfolio, and all of these now portfolio do have AI capability within them. We created the first AI native platform. So show of hands, AI native, does that sound familiar with anybody? Right, so what AI native is products that are purposely built for AI. That's important. And then we focus on experience, right? No longer is the network just up and down. It gets more in depth to how the user experience feels, how the operators that take care of the network, how they experience the network, and how applications ride on the network. So it's no longer simply up and down. And over 90% of the world's internet traffic reside on our routers. So we've been around for a while. Here's a quick announcement. So I don't know if anybody heard, but HPE is buying Juniper. It should happen this month, but they're buying us for two big reasons: AI native environment and cloud platform. We have the world's best. It's been around for 10 years, and we'll go over, again, the evolution of how AI became and where we are today. The other thing I just want to mention that our current CEO, Rami, is going to be the overall leader of the joint company when it's all done momentarily. I'm not going to read these all, but it's in the slide deck that you guys have online. But you can see where we are. We're in all the top global companies, the top Forbes companies, the top retail companies. We're in a lot of those large organizations with a really good presence. And here's Gartner. This is an eye chart. Again, it is in your documentation. But as you can see, over the time AI began, we were started on the left-hand side as a niche player. And then over time, the last 4 years, Gartner says we are the leader in the infrastructure and technology in AI. And that's unprecedented right now to be 4 years in a row. Now, in show of hands, who is IT technical? Everybody? All right? All right. So I'm going to try to leave it open-ended here as best I can. So I first want to do a little drop for my NNet partners sitting in the back. They invited me also to this, to the event here. So they've also been around since 1996. They are a partner that provides full IT services. They are focusing on SLED and federal accounts. So please stop by our booth and say hi to us. So initiatives and concerns, let's go over them. Aging hardware, that's big right now. People have had hardware for 5 years. Technology is way beyond that. So bandwidth has been an ever-increasing issue with clients. How do they keep on track and keep up to date? Use of multiple platforms, right? You have a WAN platform, you have a wireless platform, you have a security platform. So now it's harder to maintain this environment because of all of these applications that you have to have in the network. Talented labor pool. We have those kids that are in that other room, right? How do we not just obtain them for your organization, but retain them, right? Constantly ever changing. And how technology, how AI will make that easier for these people to stay employed. And then to go along with that, the increasing labor cost and increasing support cost. Everybody knows this whole world is going in subscription, right? So how do we keep that in check and how to best make that the most efficient for you all? And technology changes. How many people have more than one device in this room right now? Okay? That's out of control. It's going to get worse. iPods, earpods, phones, watches, everything's a Bluetooth device, right? How do we keep track of that? Because that's what our technology is looking to do. And the user experience, right? The network is not up and down anymore. We need to get more granular, and that's what AI is going to perform for us. So here are some true clients that have big problems. And let's start with the top left. These are all our clients. Amazon. Amazon said to us, 1 hour of outage is $35 million. That's big. That's a big problem. They can't have an outage. At BT Networks, a 10-second delay will result in someone missing the 100-meter dash at the Olympics. That's a big problem. Network can't be down. At the Veterans Administration, a 30-second outage will result in a person walking out the door. Lost person. That's a problem, right? How do we fix all these? And then at the public school system, you can't get it on the internet. You can't get a URL. 13,000 students can't take a test. So these are real problems that customers are facing every day. So what can I say with AI? We can go out there automatically and detect bad cables. Pretty cool, right? We don't have to send a technician anymore. The system can help us do that. We can identify the WAN and the LAN links, and not just if they're up or down, but are they oversubscribed? Are they undersubscribed? Are you paying too much for your WAN links, right? How the application's riding on those WAN links. We can now do that with AI. We can look at client experiences down to the application layer. So we can really take a look at what that client is seeing and how that client is utilizing the network. We can look at assets and track foot traffic throughout the organization. So what I mean by that is, like the VA, we use AI to track people through the building. We can use AI to use Bluetooth and say, I have an end cap that these clients pass in a retail environment every day. Maybe I'll put something that sells really good at that end cap because that's the path that these people take. That's all done through AI. We can check the network before a single person logs on. Going back to that school system, how great would it be if we can go out there and check that network at 8 o'clock in the morning before the first person logs on and says, hey, I got a problem. We can identify that with AI. And we can decrease support tickets. Because of our AI technology, we can look at the issues, identify the issues, and self-heal. And then we can look at applications now, like Teams and Zoom, and actually get detail from those applications to, again, give a better user experience. So AI started back with us about 10 years ago. This was a quick article that was put out. And so back in 2016, they finally said, hey, this is true, this is real. But what is AI? Right? You need information. So you have key essentials. Data. In order for AI to work, you have to have a lot of data. So we are in our almost 10th year of collecting data. You need time, hence the 10 years. You need to learn. AI needs to learn a baseline, learn what's real, what's not real, how to resolve it. So that way, when the network administrator looks at a problem, they know that it is a real problem and how to address it. And then you need architecture. This data doesn't come for free, right? We need to have the architecture in place so that we can capture all this data. So the network is no longer up and down. I want everybody to continue to have that in your mind because it is about how everybody perceives the network, and that's just a general statement. We have a user experience, what we call experience-first approach. So we take a look at all the ways that clients, operators, and applications look at the network. So we call that experience-first approach. How we've solved some of these, so these are, again, real clients. ServiceNow, one of our big clients, we made a reduction of 90% in trouble tickets, and we did that by AI, right? What we do is we analyze all their data, present it in a way that we make their technicians' life so easy, and we resolve 90% of the tickets sooner. At the Gap, because of our AI, we can identify those bad cables remotely so that they don't have to roll trucks. So 85% decrease in cost by not rolling a truck for a technician to go find the problem. At FastHost, the system is self-provisioning, so it has a QR code. You scan it with your phone, it self-provides and self-adds to the network. So tremendous increase in the way it's installed and the performance of it. And then in Orange, Egypt, another international client, 50% faster in resolution because of that AI and the technology behind that AI. So how do we do it? Is with that purposely built hardware. We have to have hardware that is able to capture all this data. So the first thing we did is we have this client level serviceability. What that is our APs, our access points, for example, collect 150 different data points every minute from every client. Now that's the huge amount of data we have. So for a person to go through that is like finding a needle in a haystack. So then what we do is we take that and put it into our AI-driven engine, which is called Marvis. So who is an Iron Man fan? So Iron Man had Jarvis. Our founders liked that, so they made ours Marvis. So that's our AI name. So what Marvis does is takes all that data, correlates it for you, and puts it in a format that's easy to read in English. So no more having to worry about having a super high-end tech to start troubleshooting the network. You can give it to a student to help start to troubleshoot the network before it goes to a tier 3 or a tier 4 person. So once we have all that data and we have it in a system, we now have to have a way that's scalable and trackable and easy to maintain. So we use what's called microservices cloud technology. So most applications are one big monolithic software. So, and everybody knows, they get the email that says at Sunday from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning, your system is going to be offline because of an upgrade. That's a monolithic system. We use microservices. What that does is break out all the pieces of the application and the management tool so that we can upgrade every single day without anybody knowing it. Similar to one of our other clients, Netflix. That's how Netflix does it with microservices. They can actually load and put movies on and off the network without anybody having to reboot Netflix. That's exactly the same concept. And then we do something which is pretty unique, which is digital engagement, BLE. Anybody know what BLE is? Bluetooth Low Energy. It's what every one of these devices send out all the time. So we, in our access points, have this technology built in so that we can do that asset tracking, so that we can do those location services where my defibrillator is or where a very important asset is in my organization. We do that for free because of AI. The technology's there. And then what we do is we make it all open API. Right? So Juniper's not looking at just Juniper stuff. We want to see other things in the network. So Zoom, Teams, Zebra, Zscaler, ServiceNow, we have all those open API integration so that when a Teams call is bad, you want to know about it. All right? You want to know why you're on the network, but the Teams call was chatty, jitter, delay. We can now do that with AI. Here's another case study for the VA specifically. So what the VA does with AI is we put a tracker on a bracelet. And as that Alzheimer's patient starts to walk out a door that they're not supposed to, we notify the staff and we lock the door automatically. So that's AI at its best. Right? That's one application that we've put in there for all the VA hospitals around the country. So AI ops, that is a Gartner term, and you'll hear that more and more often. We're AI native. People start loading AI into non-AI native platforms, and all that is trying to, add a turbo engine to your existing minivan, right? What we do is, by having this purposely built hardware, that becomes AI native. We built that hardware to be ready for AI so that we can do all of these things across the board. So you can see a little semicircle there, from routing to wireless to networking to security. All the devices now are capable of doing this AI. ServiceNow, we mentioned them earlier, 90% reduction in wireless issues, 60% cost avoidance, 50% quicker deployment times. That's huge for an organization like that. Right? We made it easy with AI for them. Again, real life stories. And here is kind of the journey. We talked about Marvis, right, with all that data. So what Marvis Mini is capable of doing is doing that proactive look at the network. In the morning, you can tell Marvis Mini, he's like a virtual network assistant working 24/7 for you. You can say, I need you to go out in the morning and check that a URL works so that students can get online at 9 o'clock. I have a big conference happening, so I want to make sure that this room is ready to accept all my DHCP addresses, my radius is working, my Wi-Fi is working, so that we have a good quality conference. That's what Marvis Minis can do. And it does that without anybody being logged in. So we have these application SLEs, which I'm going to show you here in a minute. This gives you a baseline. What AI does is establish a baseline of the entire network. Understands that that camera needs to be streaming data 24/7. If that camera stops streaming data, let me know. That's a problem. It could be a bad camera, it could be a bad cable. But I've learned that that camera should be streaming, and so on. That's what it does for all those devices in the network by establishing a baseline and then notifying you of the anomalies. We use the large language model, which you'll see here in a minute, on true AI, on how you no longer have to be a genius to manage the network. You can actually use English language to speak to it. And then we have self-driving framework with Marvis Actions, and you'll see it in the demo here shortly, what we actually do on how we bubble up all of these issues so that a person coming in the morning can say, what's going on in my network, and it'll identify it for you. Here's a build out of where we started, and I went really quick, but I'm going to see if I can do it quick, better here. Right, so in the beginning, we just were able to do AI with wireless. And then we added wired, which is the hardwired connection for your LAN. And then we add SD-WAN products to go outside the network now and look at those external WAN links and how buildings connect. Then we added a NAC, network access control, so that we can now identify the users and how they access the network. And then we did data center and then enterprise routing. So you can see the whole stack of products now that have this AI technology, each one doing a little different on how it works with AI. All right, so with AI, we can capture packets dynamically. So for network administrators, one of the biggest challenges is at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'll pick on Nathaniel, he gets in and he has a problem, and he calls the TAC center, and TAC's not in yet, or they're working on another problem, and he leaves a message and says, I have a problem with my Teams environment. Well, at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, when the network guy calls him back, the normal answer is, well, we're going to try to load Wireshark or some other tool on your machine so we can capture it again. It may never happen again. What we do is we dynamically capture those packets at the time of the failure, so that when network administrator comes in at 9, 10, 11 tomorrow morning, all he's got to do is ask two questions. What time did this occur? And right there's a little file with all those packets. So again, that's how we increase those capabilities of quicker resolution. We have that data right there. We can detect and reassign Wi-Fi channels. The biggest challenge we find right now is I'm on the network, but that's a horrible connection. My Wi-Fi sucks, right? My Teams call is chatty. What's going on? But I'm on the network. So we're able to detect that and reassign Wi-Fi channels real time so that we say, hey, this AP has got less bandwidth issues. Let's move people over there, or a channel needs to be addressed. That's all done with automation, with AI. We can look at those Teams and Zooms applications like we talked and identify a bad conference call and why did the bad conference call happen. Was it an application or was it the network? How great would it be when you go back to your CIO and say, well, we had a problem. It wasn't because the network was down. It was because the application over the cloud was bad. So that information is now at your fingertips. We talked about Marvis Minis. We're checking the network before a person signs on. We can identify assets and improve safety. So think about the Bluetooth low energy environment that we're sitting in right now. There's a fire in here. You'll be able to look at the map and see everyone's Bluetooth device. And I'll show you on the demo, there may be 50 devices in here right now, and it'll be packed in this room. So in a fire, you look at your map, you say there's 50 devices here, there's a problem, right? We got to get people out of that room, right? Or where is my defibrillator? Or how do I get to my defibrillator in an emergency? We can actually put it on the map, and then with an app on your phone, we can track you to where that device is located. The use cases for this is not even touched in the environment yet. For schools, it's vaping. Everybody heard of vaping? Kids do this in the bathroom, they sneak it. Well, we can take a look at who's in the bathroom by their Bluetooth signature. Or if they're logged on the network, I can actually tell you the device that they're on, right? So a whole different level of Big Brother watching through AI. With Verizon, we increased their capacity by 4 times, very big customer, right? And 249% increase in data flow over their 5G network, right? It's all done with AI and optimization of the networks. All right, so I think we did pretty good timing. While I'm pulling up the demo, any questions? Okay. So here is Marvis. And like I said, the first thing you see is my announcing new, oh, sorry. Let's get that off the board. All right, let's see. You see that? Yeah, perfect. So the first thing you see is announcing new features. It tells me after the fact. It didn't take the network down. It said, good morning, Marvis Mini, we added Marvis features, a simplified operation and wireless assurance and missed edge. So these are all the new things that have come out since the last time I logged on. So great, I understand that, I see my feature set. Let's see what's going on in my network. Here's my network. And basically what this is showing is all on one screen, everything wrong in the network. Starting from the top, we have a layer 1 issue. That's a bad cable somewhere. We have 16 connectivity issues. We have 5 APs that have issues, 9 switch issues, 8 WAN edge issues, and 20 data center issues and applications. So in this one screen, when you walk in the morning, I got 65 things I got to work on. Well, what's impacting the most users, right? So if you're experienced with this, all you have to do is just click on one of these. And it tells you in categorized what the problems are. We have 5 AP issues. Well, 2 of them are offline. Well, that could be a problem, right? 1 has a bad health check. 1 has a coverage hole. Like I said, we can identify those coverage gaps, right, on real time. And we have 1 that has insufficient capacity. So those are issues. If I click on, let's just say, the offline ones, right on the bottom here, it tells me what the APs are. And if I really wanted to go crazy, I click on this even further. It tells me what port and what switch they're connected to, so I can identify them. I can also click on this, and it'll show me all my APs, what the statuses of those APs are, where they're located, and their throughput, all instantaneously, without digging in further and without me being a super genius. I'm not an engineer. So when we go back to our monitor, we talked about those service levels. Up on top here are all your different type of applications. You have a wireless application, and these are the stats of what's happening in the network right now. So I'm going to say here, I'm going to change this to, let's say, last 7 days, get more data. So simply saying, you look at this and say, well, 92% of the time, people connect fine. Well, that's not good, right? I got 8% of the time, people are not connecting. Why? So you can see by this chart what time frame and what the issues are. I can scroll over, and you can see that of those people that have issues, 65% of those times is an association attempt issue. So right now I'm drilling down on every one of these wireless issues simply by AI doing this for me, analyzing all that data. And if I click on the association, 38% of the users have 86%, 38% of those users, 86% of the time have those issues. You can click on timeline, and you can see, wow, this is a problem right here. We have all those attempts. And the system's intelligent enough with AI to go down here and say, well, it affected all these users, That's a problem. But if you look further down, somebody made a change. So it tracks everything that happens. So you can easily look at this chart and say, well, somebody made a change at this time which affected all these users. Let's go back and find out what that change was. Right? Let's find out who did that change. So AI is doing all of this for us. Now this is the hard way to do it. We talked about AI and Marvis and the English speaking capabilities. So down here on the bottom of this screen is our Marvis. And Marvis is an English speaking AI engine. So you can ask Marvis anything you need, anything you want, as long as there is a unique identifier. So in this case, I'm just going to ask Marvis. I come in the morning and say, what is the status of my network? And then I grab my cup of water or coffee and let Marvis do all the work. And Marvis is going out right now and checking the entire company and says, wow, remember, we're not just up and down. The network can be up and down. It's looking at users, right? We want to know if a user is having a good day. Wi-Fi is up, but my users are having issues. So from this morning, between midnight and now, 10:47, it found 2 issues. One guy is Everest, and one guy is an Android. So let's see what's going on with these guys. So we can just click on it. Marvis goes again and starts looking at what's happening with Everest 4. Well, Everest 4 has an authorization error. So the technician can call back Nathaniel and say, Nathaniel, you have the wrong password. You've been trying to get on the network, but you got the wrong password. Simple. And if I don't know, if I'm a real novice at my networking, I'm a student that's trying to become a networking engineer, I don't know what to do, I'm going to click on that authorization error, and Marvis is going to tell me that 46% of the time, this guy has authorization errors. So how do I fix it? I click on Marvis again, and Marvis tells you, well, update the Wi-Fi password, or click on the radio server is reachable. So it's step by step with automation, giving you the details you need to help manage the network, all with AI. And the power behind Marvis is, you can ask it any question you want. So we're going to see if there's any and I have no idea because this is a live demo. So are there any unhappy users? Let's see. Let's see what Marvis comes back with, right? I have no idea. I'm just typing away here, right? And it's checking. So, yep, we found the same 2 people. All right, that's good. It found the same 2 people. All right, so that's the power of AI. And I don't know if there's any bad Teams calls. Let's see. Are there any bad Teams calls? Oh, sorry, there's nothing. There's no application matching that. So I probably did something. I spelled Teams, or maybe it's Microsoft Teams. I don't know. But that's the power of Marvis without going through that detail. Now, all the data is there. So what Marvis is doing is taking all that data that you see in the other part of the screen and then bringing it in so that it is in English, so that you can speak to it and be proactive in your networking assessments. So we mentioned Marvis Minis. Let's go there for a minute. So you can see here Marvis Minis are running. So these are all the Marvis Minis that are running. And you can see that it's run out and it's checked DHCP, my ARP, my DNS server. And you can see right here it's got a problem with an application. So Marvis Mini went out there. It happens to be in this Sunnyvale Spoke site. It's 1 AP. It has 199 tests on it. And let's see what the problem is. So you can see it failed. It passed all these other times, but it's failing every once in a while, this application. So easily you can see what's happening within the network with these Marvis Minis going out proactively. Go back to here as a DHCP failure. It tells you where it failed and what AP. and everything about it, all automated. And again, I'm just looking at this one site right now. But again, that's the power of AI. So pretty cool, right? All modernized, and it's easy, and that makes the networking administrator's life so much easier. Increase the user experience, operational experience, and applications as well. There's a question.
Great. I have a very basic question.
Yeah.
On the security side, the assumption that, let's say, encryption, authentication, all that stuff, is it embedded in the AI Mist platform?
Yes. So in that main screen, when we went to these Marvis actions, so here would be anything that was going on with your security. So the purpose of this one dashboard is to have everything on the one dashboard, so you don't have to have multiple applications, right? So you can see your entire network, even down to the data center, right? You can see what's going on in the data center. If someone made a change at the data center, that's affecting the bandwidth and the throughput of those devices. So a very, very powerful tool. So let's just go here, connectivity for a second. So again, when I ask Marvis, is there any bad users today, right? It's looking over today's period. And like I said, when I went to up here, I can adjust the time frame. So here I'm looking at more than just today. I'm looking those 7 days out, right? So you can see all the issues that have, all the people that have DHCP error and issues, and you can see the number of clients that it affected. So if I'm looking at this as a network administrator, where am I going to focus? How about this one? 87 clients. So you have a major outage across the network. What's going on? Who do I address first? Well, let's get this 87, right? You can even, again, use Marvis down to a person. So if I remembered Everest 4, right, I can specifically say to Marvis, what is the status? Everest, I think it's 4, right? Dash 4. Right? And as long as I have a unique identifier, the CIO, the CTO, the CFO, I will be able to identify and troubleshoot that person immediately. So again, not being a network genius, as a student, I can say, what's going on with my superintendent today? Making sure he's a happy guy before I go do my rest of my job for the day. So super powerful tool. The AI is only getting better. Yes?
So it's all AI based on the data. Is the data coming from multiple networks or this specific network only? How do you build your bank of data?
So the bank of data comes from all those devices that are out there. So if we go to, let's say, access points for an example, right? I can search on site, or this is just the whole entire organization. So this organization has all of these access points. So every access point and every client that's connected to that access point is sending that data back real time. If it's a switch, these are all the switches in that organization. And you can see right off the bat, one switch has a failure, right? If it's a WAN edge, so we talked about WAN, right? And I'm gonna go to the entire org. Let's see, where is that? Right, I can see all my WAN edge devices, where they are, what they're doing. Let me get rid of that screen for you. I can click on it, and you can see where it's coming from, where it's getting the data. All the applications that are running on that WAN edge immediately shows up. So again, we're down to the application layer, and it's getting detail from all the applications, all the clients, all the network connectivity, all your LAN connections.
But it's all specific organization, right?
For that organization, yes.
Yeah. So when you're doing WAN connection and you're operating with another network that's owned by someone else, and there's a problem, how do you identify this?
So remember, the AI has to be given to us. So we have direct API links with Zoom and Teams and Zscaler and so forth. More and more applications are being added, But if the network is not intelligent enough to grab that data, we can only do so much with it, right? So we do, like if I had a non-Juniper switch, I can see the switch, but I don't, whatever the data that switch is giving me is the only thing I can go by. And a lot of the older equipment is not capable of providing that rich data. I do want to show you location services because it is pretty cool. So here's a picture of this office. And you can see where the APs are located. And what I can now do here, and we talked about a fire or something happening, is I can search and scan by what do I want to see in that network? Who do I want to see, right? Do I want to show all my app clients? Do I want to show only cellular clients? Well, what happens if I don't know anybody, right? I just want to see people that are on my network that maybe not logged in, but a Bluetooth device. So I just clicked on show all unconnected. Doesn't that look crazy? So those are all the Bluetooth devices and cellular connections, and you can see one guy was just moving around, right, in the network. So again, in an emergency, and if this was all bundled, you would say, well, wait a minute, we got a problem. We got all of these people, all these devices in that one room. Let's try to figure out why they're there, right? And again, you have so much flexibility to show my assets only, right? So I'm going to click on that one and see if there's any assets here. There's no assets on this floor. But if there were an asset, it would show you where the asset is, right? And this can go down to the smallest level of an organization. It doesn't have to be an enterprise. I did this for a small marina where we track the carts that go up and down the dock. Something simple as that, like where are all my carts right now? A lawnmower shop that wants to know where my lawnmower is before it goes out the door. If you see this round circle, that's a zone. So you can actually build zones and that says, well, you know what, if somebody walks through that door of my data center, let me know. It'll alert you. Or better yet, if you're a rental organization, when that rental leaves that zone, flag me. When that rental comes back to my zone, flag me. It's a timestamp, I know they're back, I'm a happy guy, right? The use cases, again, are just beginning with this. This is built into the system. It's not an extra cost. It's part of the way the AI works and the way our Bluetooth antenna array works. The Bluetooth antenna array also talks to other APs. So even if you have two APs that are up and running and one of them has a lost connection, as long as they have power, the APs will talk Bluetooth to each other to say, hey, I got a problem out here. How do I get it fixed and resolved? So Bluetooth is not only used for location services, but also communication between devices when they need to be addressed. So I did want to just show you that Bluetooth because it is pretty cool. So with pathfinding, right, you can actually see those Bluetooth devices tracked through your facility. So for a retail organization, like I said, you can say, hey, they pass by this end cap all the time, or they just go right out to Starbucks, right? I can see that track and better apply my sales marketing towards it.
This may be a ridiculous question, but I see the possibility of communication going both ways. Let's say again, you have a fire in the building. Folks are all wearing their iWatches, phones. Could you push notifications that there's a fire to tell them back?
So you could, that's an application, right? It's an open API, but you would have to know each one of those user IDs. These are MAC addresses, okay, right? These are all MAC addresses. So now if a person is logged on the network, so I can change that look to say, give me clients that are logged on the network. And now that should populate with the clients. You can see them coming in, right? This guy's roaming around, Curious George, Jane Doe. They're actually roaming the building right now, right? So that's the power of that technology, is you can actually see what's going on. Like I said, Big Brother watching. So if I wanted to now click on Jane Doe, I can actually see John Doe, see where he is. I can get his details. I can go on client detail level and see more information about where he's located, what's going on, everything about him, but he's on the network.
I'm afraid to ask, but and I'm a lay person, but you can see the devices they're on. Can you see what they're looking at on the device?
So if they are logged on the network, I can absolutely see every application.
Yeah, I'm getting nervous now.
So they can do it now, right? When you're on someone's network, they know
Right.
what you're doing,
Yeah,
right?
they know what you're
This
doing.
just does it in a way where it kind of helps. So here, let's pick somebody here. Again, this is a live demo. Let's pick this Chromebook.
Oh, boy.
All right,
Okay.
this Chromebook. Oh, he's not bad. He's using Google and YouTube,
Google.
right? So Google and YouTube and unknown. We don't know what unknown is, right? But any application that we can identify, we'll list here.
But it has to be on your network.
Correct. It has to be passing data.
If they're in your building and they're not using your network, they're using their own cellular plan.
I'll see that Bluetooth signature,
Okay.
but I won't know what's passing because it's not through my network.
Got it.
Right.
Okay, so I'm good.
You're good. All right.
I'm sure.
You can still be dangerous. But you can see this particular client, if he had bad or good events, they would be all listed here. And I just went to a client. And again, that's all the AI that's coming from the system that we captured those 150 data points. Yes, sir.
Quick question. So with Marvis, obviously you can analyze data that's happened. Can you take action? Can you say, do a speed test to this client?
Yes.
Prove it. Can you show me?
Okay.
Let's see. I have to know a client, so let's try.
Like, can you do a speed test on Everest 4 or something?
What?
like this?
Let's see. Let's try it. Let's say speed test. Well, first let's try that. Let's see what Marvis says. Oh, coming soon. Okay, so it can't be done right now. But yes, coming soon. Right. And
So it can do
it
action.
can. It can actually do actions. Yes. Yeah. And again, that's the cool thing about Marvis is if I'm stuck, I can ask it literally anything, and it'll help me. Like, you know, how do I add an AP? Right, and it's going to go out to the network and find the documentation of how to add to the, and there it is, right there in English, right? So it's very intuitive, and it is a closed language model. So we're only doing data. That's the big thing about AI, right? We don't want erroneous stuff. So this is only Juniper actioned items that are coming in. We're analyzing it, and then we're given actions and answers from that. That's all I had. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. Hopefully it was a little bit educational. Thank you.